to the Accommodation Show. I'm joined this week by Rachel Gainsborough, who's from Short Term Gems. She is an absolute legend in the short-term rental space, and the best thing about her is she is full of knowledge. She's got so much understanding of this industry. She's a doer. She gets out there. Not only that, she is a doctor. She has lots of properties. She's on Netflix as well, or coming up onto Netflix, doing an episode on there. So she is hustling like crazy at the moment. I'm really excited, and we're really privileged to have you on the show. Welcome to the show, Rachel.
Thanks, Bart. I can't tell you how honored I am to be here. It is just such a pleasure. And I thank you so much for holding this space for all those who are interested in short-term rentals. So I encourage anyone who's listening, if you know someone in this industry who needs to hear this message today, please have them subscribe.
You're so kind, and I appreciate that. And I guess that's why we're here. There's nothing really selfish about what we're trying to do. We're really just trying to give more information and try to help the industry move forward. And it's not only short-term rentals that I'm focused on. I'm focused on accommodation in general, improving the guest experience, making this industry better, the tourism space better. It's so exciting to go traveling. It's so exciting to meet new people. It's so exciting to visit the world, and that's what we're involved in. So that's why I love what I do, and I love doing this show. But before we get started, tell us about yourself, your history, and what your background is in the short-term rental space.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally born in Haiti, underrepresented nation, raised in Miami in the inner city, really. Fast forward years later, was able to obtain a doctorate degree, worked hard. And you know what? When we got there, my husband and I, we arrived, we felt like, wow, we're living the dream. However, the struggle was real. So it was a grind. And if you speak with any healthcare professional, especially today, you know, it really has a lot of burnout associated with it. So finding an additional revenue stream for us was key. And I am passionate. I'm passionate about accommodations. I love hosting others. We started within our home, hosting others in our home, and then expanded. And I'm passionate about helping other healthcare providers find their love for accommodations too. That's their gift.
Tell me about that. And I love to start off here. Is the difference between, hey, I want to get into short-term rentals to make money, and I want to get into short-term rentals to, I guess, is a business to have an experience, or to help guests and to be with guests and dealing with kind of the guest side of things. Tell me about the difference between those two.
Well, I really think it comes in hand. So my worldview is the more people you serve, the money will come. And so my passion is to serve others. My passion is to help guests find great accommodations. I'm especially passionate these days about unique accommodations. And so as we all know, that's going to be the driver going forward in this industry. The more unique the accommodations, the more, revenue is going to be associated with this. So I think it's a benefit that comes with really wanting to do a good job, really wanting to serve guests at a higher level. So it's a win-win situation to me.
Yeah, that's what I've always found. I've always found that the money will look after itself. So first of all, you get everything in place, you start working on it, you become an expert, you look after your guests, you look after this field, and then the money will kind of take care of itself, as long as you're not kind of giving it away and you're smart about the way that you work. Then it always does kind of find its way back to you because you are just so good at what you actually do. So tell us about your story. So you're hustling. And I know the funny thing is, I know that right now you're successful, but you're still hustling. But you're there and you're hustling with a lot less, equity, a lot less money behind you. And then you built it. Where have you got to now?
Yeah, so I'm in an interesting part of our journey. I think we're at the growing pains / having our systems in place. And so the hustling, I feel like, is just maybe around the corner. It's going to be, different. So at this point, between properties that we own, properties we operate, and the properties that we manage for others, we're at 18 properties. So we've had a really great record-breaking year, and things are going to change significantly for the work side of things. Maybe looking to cut back a bit more so that I can focus on building this brand, this incredible brand that we have. And so looking forward to that.
So tell me about the brand. Are we talking about a consumer-facing brand or a business-to-business brand?
It's a little bit of both. So our business to business side of things is that we do serve large families who are impacted by relocation, for instance. So if they're relocating to a certain area, relocating to due to something happening to their home, we deal directly with the insurance companies, and so that is the business to business brand that we're dealing with. But we're also customer faces because customers, they tend to seek out, things for themselves. So while the insurance may be looking for a home for themselves, they're looking as well. So it's a tricky marriage between the two. But yeah, it is a brand that we are looking to build for both avatars, really.
So, and when you build out those brands, are we talking about more properties, or are we just talking about adding more depth so that we've got more occupancy within the properties that you currently have and increasing prices?
Well, originally it was more depth in terms of really ironing out. However, we've been approached by several homeowners as well as realtors and others in the community that know what we're doing. And so by default, we are adding more homes as well. And it's been an interesting journey. And you know what? We look at our portfolio and we're not just adding, we're actually removing also. So when the contract is up or the contract is looking like, or if something is looking like it's not going to be a good relationship to continue on, we'll remove homes, we'll remove anything really in your business, anything that's a bottleneck, you need to figure out how to get those removed. So if it's not a good fit for our client avatar, if it's not a good fit for our business model, we are removing properties from our business as well.
And okay, so this is a brilliant segue into avatars, and this is a topic which I think is incredibly important for those in the audience that aren't aware of what an avatar is. Do you want to give a quick intro?
Sure, absolutely. So your client avatar is that ideal dream client that you want to serve in your business. And so for us, our client avatar are large, multi-generation families that are traveling with children, teens, and pets. And it's a little bit selfish because the reason it's our avatar is because it's who I am. I typically travel with grandma, grandpa, my sister, her spouse, their kids, my 3 dogs. And so we're always, imagine who would want to house me. I come with a lot of baggage, so therefore we're looking for accommodations that will serve that avatar. And so it really transforms every aspect of your business, because when you're thinking about even down to the level of the investment, the property that you're going to invest in or the property that you're going to onboard, if I see a great deal and it's a high-rise studio condo with excellent views, and I can't go chasing after that because that's not going to fit my client avatar. So it's about getting laser focused, especially when you're building your business or when you're starting out, not chasing after everything, because I have shiny object syndrome. If I see someone who just picked up, 13 one-bedroom units, like, wow, that's a lot, but is that my client avatar? Is that who I'm trying to serve? And if the answer is no, I need to continue to soldier on and build out the brand and build out what it is that I'm working on building out to achieve my goals. I have some goals and need to work on those and not necessarily look at what, the goals of everyone else is. So I hope that makes sense.
And yeah, absolutely. And I think that was a great explanation of avatars in general, that you're looking at your ideal client fit. And there are different benefits of identifying that particular client and working towards that particular client demographic. And you've said, well, you know what? I've just found my avatar is me. so therefore it makes it easier because you can then service to yourself, and you can figure out what your needs are, right? So if there are 3 pets, what does a family need that has 3 pets, or that's multi-generational and that sort of thing? Tell us about the benefits of really niching down on a particular avatar. So from 2 perspectives, I'd really love to hear. So one, from the guest perspective, why is it important for them to know that you know who they are? And then the other one, and we might come back to it in a minute, but from your business's perspective, and feel free to go whichever way you want first, from the business's perspective, why is it important to focus on that one niche rather than, like you said, picking up different properties or going for something else and going in different directions when there's, like literally there's money over here and you're saying, well, you know what, I'm not going to take that money and keep on working or whatever. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on those two elements.
Yeah, and it's an incredible question, and it's something that I think we need to ask ourselves as business operators. And you answered the question a little bit earlier, Bart. You said, I can then take a look at that customer journey and really understand who that customer is. It's me, right? But it gives me an opportunity to get really laser focused, to walk a mile in that customer's shoes, okay? When that client is entering the property, like for instance, I know it's standard to ask a guest in my market, to run the first load of laundry because it's helpful. And that is something that's standard, okay? Wait a minute, think about that for a moment. If it's the day that I have to rally about 5 or 6 children, corral them herding them like cats, putting them in a car, do you think that person really has the bandwidth to run a load of laundry, try to get dishes, and it falls on the shoulders of it may be a mom, a dad, or someone like that. And so that vacation just became a bit more stressful for them, a bit more stressful for that individual. So just thinking about all of those things, something that would work out if it's a single gal on her own, hey, you mind throwing that in the laundry? Not a big deal. It was just her, it was just him. But if she has a household, if I'm accommodating 10 and 12 and 14 and 16 people, just imagine, So now when she or he gets home, they want to take a vacation from that vacation, just from the laundry, right? And walking through that whole client journey from as soon as they're inquiring and kind of visualizing what that experience is. And when they interact with the VAs, what is that experience? As they're traveling to the property, what is that experience? How do we make that easy for them? As they're entering the property, what is that experience? As they're enjoying the many facets of the property, are there snacks that would be accommodating for them? Are there activities? Is there a menu? Is there room service? Is there a partnership with a local restaurant that can quickly deliver something that they know this property, So walking through that whole journey in a partnership. So walking through that whole journey, it really, really makes the difference for that individual, and it makes a difference for that guest avatar. Now, I just think it's really important to walk through that journey, to spend time at the property, to envision yourself with a group at the property to see what's missing, what you have, which quality kitchen appliances or quality kitchen utensils, Usually there's going to be a couple meals cooked. And if there's no pan or if there's no spatula, these are the small things, but they're big things too, because a lot of times the guests, they do not have the convenience of knowing where to go and shop quickly to get these items. So I just think it's really important, because what happens is if you want to repeat that process, now you have a template, right? You don't have to reimagine and go through that journey over and over and over again. You have a template. And with the checklist, I'll hand it over to an assistant, and they will go through and check and check and check and check and check and hand it to me what's missing. Then we know, okay, we need to replenish with what's missing. And so, however, if you start to pivot immediately, you're starting from scratch, and it's always a learning curve, So once you get to the point where you have enough help that you want to pivot, by all means. But as you're building, I really think it's going to be important for the client to really get laser focused on the avatar, because what's going to happen is you're going to set yourself apart from the competition. The competition may be serving everyone, right? And ultimately no one, so to speak. But if you're serving that one client avatar, they're going to see it, especially if you know how to take or get great pictures taken to identify the pack and play, to identify the high chair, to identify the game room. People don't read anymore. We just want to see pictures. They want to see it in the pictures. Well, once you identify that, the guest is going to see that and is going to stop the scroll and say, hey, this is exactly what I need. I'm coming for this property because this fits my needs. So I kind of mixed both answers in there. I hope you could parse it out a bit.
Oh, there's just so much in there, and there's so much which is super important. So walking through that guest experience, right? So when you've got your avatar, you can actually, it's achievable. You can walk through the guest experience. If you've got different avatars, so if you're looking at couples and families, and then if you're looking at a business traveler, that walkthrough experience is completely different. So when we're booking a holiday as a family, are we booking a holiday? Yes, we are booking a holiday. All right, what does that look like? Are they going to stay for 2 days, or are they going to stay for a week? That's going to completely differ the different amenities that you need in the property, the list of things to do. Do you need board games for when it rains? Do you need wood for the fireplace? Do you need that for 1 day, or do you need a week's worth or 3 weeks worth of wood? How much toilet paper do you need in the property for a huge family? So all of these different things. And then I think something that you nailed, which is really nice, was that checklist and that template that you're becoming an expert in this space. And you've got that template which you can then go and replicate across your properties, because the real answer to this is, yes, it improves the guest experience, but it also makes you more profitable, because you don't have to go and rethink all these systems and make all the mistakes over and over and over again. That cost you a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of mental strain as you're making those mistakes, because you did the wrong avatar. You had a business person stay with you, and the Wi-Fi broke, and you had no backup for it. You just didn't envisage that would be a particular problem, but for that person, it was incredibly important. Or you said that there was a printer on the property and the ink ran out, and all of a sudden you spent days trying to fix this thing, which really could have been dealt with. So that's kind of hopefully a bit of a summary for the benefits of that avatar. On that, so talking about just the business side of the benefits of the avatar, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, so the business side, again, having that template and being able to scale. So for instance, if I know that we're going to launch 3 properties, well, we can then purchase and in bulk, the things that we need for all 3 properties, because we have that template, we have a framework. So it's not going to be a situation where you're going to curate individual things for different client avatars for each property. We have a framework. So for instance, a high-end condo is going to have different needs than a 5-bedroom family-friendly 5-bedroom home. So again, the template, I think, is really a big deal for the business. And then you can start to kind of plan your numbers, plan your revenue, plan your team around it, right? Plan how much help you're going to need based on the footprint of the property, based on, again, the type of guest, the type of client that you're expecting to book. And really, it streamlines so many things. So I think that's the business side of it.
Yeah, and I think that the other one that kind of struck me as you were talking was the pricing point, because now you understand your market and you understand what a family is maybe willing to pay, what they kind of expect. So if you're actually going and prospecting properties, you've actually got a good idea as to what the demand might be like in a certain area, how to price it, and then how to do your financials at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's very helpful. You know, you have the data. You started with one or two properties. Now you have the data. And again, that's your framework. That's, you know, you can mine that data to see, you know, when these large families will travel and just kind of crunch it any way that you want. But having that data is great. But again, if you're starting off with something totally different, you're starting from square one. You don't have the data for that yet. And so the learning curve, again, is going to take a moment to catch up.
Yeah, and that learning curve can be anywhere from a few months to a few years until you really get that depth to really understand it. And as a property management company or as any business, that's really your intellectual property, is that data that you've had from the experience that makes you better at what you do, and you can provide that service. So it's incredible. It's incredible from just saying, oh, you need to know your avatar, to that end output of, hey, this is actually incredibly important for your business to understand it, because then you can really scale your business in a way that makes sense, and you can leverage your experience throughout it. So I love it. I'm going to move on from avatars, because I love it and I could talk about it all day long, and I think it's interesting as well. But I do want to talk. Oh, actually, sorry, there is one more question about avatars. Let's say we don't know. So I don't want to go through, you know, finding who your avatar is. That's kind of that you know, you can Google it or look at videos that Rachel's done or that I've done. You know, that's fine. Let's say we're just starting out and you've modeled it on your business because that kind of worked, but then we're not quite sure what our avatar is yet. What would you say is the best tip to sort of try to guide yourself in a certain direction? You've got nothing, right? You've got absolutely nothing. You're going out there, you start looking on Airbnb, looking at different listings. You're like, oh, well, who do I target? What would your tip be in terms of trying to, at the start of someone's journey?
A couple things to think about when you're first starting out. And I love meeting people where they're at. Okay. So where are you located geographically, and where are you financially as well? Right. So geographically, are you located on the coast near the water, or are you located by hospitals or universities? You know, and so those are some things to think about. So if you are just starting out from scratch and you don't have the luxury to just accommodate anyone and anyone that you would like, start where you are. You know, start where you are. If you're near a hospital or university, perhaps your avatar is that working professional. You know, you can start off there. You know, see if something like that would relate to you. See if perhaps, you know, a professor that's coming to town to do a lecture, some type of workforce, you know, because that's where you're at. You're near a hospital, you're near a university, you know, consider something like that. And if your budget is restricted, you know, it may be a 2-bedroom home or a 1-bedroom home. And you start off that way. And as a matter of fact, if it's very restricted and you have a casita or a granny flat or some type of accommodation, a tiny house on your property, you can start with that, using what you have to start to serve that guest at a smaller scale. And then really honing in and seeing if it is something for you, because hosting guests is not a landlord-tenant relationship. It's a hospitality, you know, business. So it's not landlord-tenant, it's a hospitality business. And I really think there's a personality factor to deal with it as well. So if you feel as though you don't have the personality for it, you may need to either outsource, you know, but if you're capable of growing, either outsource or seek other options. But definitely try it out. Start with where you're at. But if you're lucky enough to be on the beach or the water, by all means, you know, you can host. I know right now we're looking at keeping our distance, but I know a lot of people started hosting in their home. If that's something that you are able to do, or partner with someone who's already hosting and kind of learning the ropes, co-hosting, learning the ropes, trying to understand the communication around it, but really just starting where you're at. Look at your geographical location, look at your budget. If you are fortunate enough where you can purchase a home, I think by all means. But partnering with others, I think, is a great way to start, and just starting where you're at. I know a lot of people start remotely. I think that's a very tricky way of doing things, because I think when you're starting out, you really need to have the property close by, to have a close eye on everything, to really understand how everything works before you can start going out of state, out of town. And yeah, so those are my recommendations.
I don't disagree with that. I think your expenses can be very high very quickly, and if you want to reduce those expenses, you want to find ways to use your own time rather than that expense, unless you've got huge budgets, and then you can do all this stuff and you can go wherever you want, but you're going to spend a lot of money learning all these lessons, rather than if it's closer to you, then you can actually just get on the ground and go meet people and see what's broken when something's broken in a house, or whatever it might be. So you just save yourself money more than anything else, right? It's not a, hey, don't scale into a new area. It's, hey, do you have the budget to actually do it? If you want to do it at a lower budget, you got to do it locally. You can get people managing your property somewhere else as well, but that's going to cost you. They're not going to work for free. They just won't. So if you do it locally, you can get through that. Now, next topic. So look, by the way, I love the answer to that question. I think you're absolutely right. When we're looking for that first property, see what you can get, kind of a thing. See what you can afford, and then work with what you've got. And that might not be your ideal avatar forever. It might be on your second or your third property. You go, this is what works for me. This is what's working. And then that's when you're going to really start to hone down on that particular niche. You go, you know what? I'm becoming more of an expert in this particular niche, and this is working for me. Because the thing is no expert is going to tell you what the perfect niche is, because there's a good chance is, one, it works for them for one reason. Otherwise, if it's a niche that nobody has discovered, or one that's really, really good and that works well, they're not going to tell you that secret. They just won't. No one is going to give you their best stuff for free. Even if you pay for it, they probably won't give it to you, because they need to have that point of difference. So just be mindful of that as well.
Something I heard you say the other day, and I thought it was brilliant, Bart. He said, that first property, that's the one you learn from. That's not the one that's going to make you, that's not going to change the world and solve world hunger. That first property is the one you're going to learn from. The second one is where you'll start making it. I was like, yes, so true. That first property is a learning opportunity. It truly is. It's almost like you're in a lab, or the sandbox, so to speak. And you're really going through all of the growing pains of getting that property together, and growing pains of guest communication. And you're like, oh, I forgot this. Oh, I forgot that. So yeah, that first, and you know what? Embrace the suck, right? Just lean into it with that first property. Yeah. But that's what's going to get your systems in place. No one's going to hand you systems. You got to do it.
That's right. And so like I do a lot of consulting work, and I can build systems for whoever they want. I know how to do them, and I know how to make it work. But you're going to have to pay me an awful lot of money to spend my time not working on my stuff to do it for you. And you're going to go, well, that's expensive. I'm going to say, of course it is. So that just takes time and effort. And that's where, if I'm focusing on doing it for you, that means I'm not doing it for myself, where I can be far more profitable in the long run. So just bear that in mind when you've got a lot of experts that are cheap to say, yeah, I'll do it for you. Chances are that it's kind of like the ones that can't do teach. So just be careful with that. Anyhow, I'm digressing. I really want to ask you a couple more questions about the Netflix thing. I definitely want to cover off today. I'd love to know what it's about, how you got on there. I think it's quite aspirational in this particular industry for someone to be able to get that kind of an opportunity. Netflix has obviously gone through the roof. It's a medium that, be it 10 years ago or 15 years ago, they used to send around DVDs back in the day, right? Yeah. And everyone would laugh and go, "Oh, Netflix!" And now it's completely changed everything. So, underappreciating Netflix is definitely a mistake. So the more I've talked to you, the more I've realized that this is something that's happened for you, the more I'm like, wow, that's super impressive. So I'd love to hear a bit more about what it is and how it happened for you.
Well, I'm still under NDA. I don't know if I told you or not,
Oh,
so I
okay.
can't disclose too much. But I will say that the show is airing beginning of 2022, and it's about real estate. It's about short-term rentals. They reached out to us, and it was a really great opportunity. Like you said, oh my gosh, what an incredible opportunity! I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see it coming. It's not something we even aimed for, so to speak. And so it fell in our lap, and opportunity knocks, you say yes, right? So we walked through the door, and it was a great journey. And I look forward to coming back when I'm
You
able
can
to
tell us a bit more.
disclose and share all of the goods and the juicy
Yeah, great.
experience. But
Great.
yeah.
I'm gonna hold you to that, and we're all gonna hold you to that. We want to know more. I think that for us, there's a few sides of obviously what the end result will be, but that journey is incredibly important to the audience. Is going, oh, how do you do these things? How do these opportunities come about? And to me, there's no doubt as to why these opportunities come is that you're just hustling, right? And I think hustling is the word for this particular episode, because you're just working super hard. And for those in the audience don't know, this is our second catch up before we've done this one, and we've spent over an hour talking together. We've spent months on Clubhouse talking to each other. So this doesn't happen overnight. We're just working together and understanding each other. So I've got no doubt as to the reason why someone came and tapped you on the shoulder and said, "Hey, I've got an opportunity."
No, and I'm amongst giants, and so I do appreciate you too, Bart. You always offer so much value, and when I interact with you, the value that you offer is not just ethereal; it's actionable. You give suggestions that you can take immediately. I was like, oh, that's a great suggestion. I can literally take the suggestion and go and make some changes, whether it's to my listing or how I'm framing my property. So I thank you for that. And what you're doing for the community is absolutely incredible. And I really hope that they're taking to heart, all the recommendations and suggestions that you're putting out there, because it makes a difference.
It really does make a difference, and like I guess that's my next little adventure, is actually going back and telling the story of the differences that we've made, because it's substantial, right? Like we had a website go live and they tripled their direct bookings overnight, and they're like, how did that work? I'm like, we just know what we're doing, and you get that confidence after a while that you just know. You just have to push these 3 buttons in the right order, and it will happen. You missed one of the buttons and you're in trouble. So I appreciate that as well. Okay, so Netflix we're not going to go too far into today, but folks, watch this space, because it's important to follow this journey. And Netflix are more and more involved in this particular industry, in this space. Especially, I think they've realized as people can't travel, they need to then put a lot of their stuff on TV so that people go, oh, you can do this and that. And then there was also all of the old flipping shows, so flip property, where I guess they'll probably be looking at that sort of space and looking at saying, hey, there's other ways that you can actually make money from property as well. I don't know what your show is about. We haven't talked about it, but these are all my guesses off my own bat. Now, the last thing I would like to talk about, and I think it's worthwhile us giving it a little bit of airtime to, one of the things that you've talked to me about is you trying to help others understand this industry so that they can get a passive income themselves and go, yeah, cool, this is something that I can work on and something that I can add value to. One of the things that struck me is you said, I it's all about the guests, which I think is important, and you leading in that way is super important, rather than focusing on the money. Like, yeah, passive income, yeah, cool, we'll get there, you will get there, but all about the guests. You've niched. You found your avatar to do this coaching and training and mentoring. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's, again, you know how something falls into your lap? It's the same day and day. And I hate to share this story, but I have friends who are driving to work crying, literally crying, like full grown adults crying because of the stress and because of the lack of the mindset, right? They don't see a way out. You know, you've spent 8 years going to university for this great degree. Oh, I'm a doctor this, I'm a doctor that. But when you get into the workplace, it can be difficult, it can be brutal, and no one cares, right? You're a doctor, you're on top of the world. No one cares that you're actually going through some significant burnout. So we need to understand that over 90% of medical professionals understand that burnout is a real issue, and over 60% have expressed that they have had some burnout. And so having an extra revenue stream really gives someone that mindset freedom where you can say yes to certain things and no to certain things, where you can start to design the life and the lifestyle that you want. And then it's so empowering. And so because of that, so many of them have come along and say, hey, how are you doing this? Hey, could you tell me more about this? Hey, I thought about this, but I could never do that. And it's more of a mindset journey. It's more of a, oh, absolutely, you can. You know, I've seen the way you treat others. I've seen how you treat guests, how you treat patients. You have that bedside manner. And some of them I quickly identify, oh, you'd be so good for this, you know, and helping them along. And so after helping friend after friend after friend, I have over 30 students, quote unquote, and friends that have had at least one booking because of this journey. And really, my husband encouraged him. He goes, there's something there. You're really good at this. You're really good at this teaching thing. And so my client avatar is that burnt out, busy professional who is looking for an additional revenue stream and who has that heart to serve and that heart to host others. And so it's been a great, great journey working with these folks. And you're right, I've really identified my student or my coaching avatar as well.
Look, when I'm talking to you, you make it sound so simple. Like if we actually just dissect what you've done, it's super simple, right? I'm just like, all right, done something, learn about, and you've modeled it all on yourself. And you're like, well, I'm this kind of person. These are the problems that I have. I'm going to fix these particular problems. And you're like, no, I'll teach other people how to do it in exactly the same way. So your overhead in terms of figuring everything out is very low because you're walking the walk and then showing people how to walk that in those same steps. So if anyone is listening to the episode that wants to kind of figure out how to do their business and what to do next, you know, just look at yourself first rather than trying to become Bart or trying to become Rachel or trying to become someone else. It just isn't going to work, or it will work, but take a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't go out there and tell them I'm going to optimize your SEO for your business. That's something that I would have to go back in time and then go and spend years learning that. And I'm not even going to try, you know, because that's a whole other language. You know, I stay in my lane and I'm happy to say if there's something that comes up. I love our network and our connection. I'm happy to say, hey, speak to Bart about that. This is completely out of my wheelhouse. You know, I don't know SEO optimization. All I know is that it's very important. Other than that,
don't know why, but it is. Yeah, awesome.
Absolutely.
Look, I think I'll wrap up there. Did you have any other thoughts or anything else that I might have missed that you'd like to add?
I just want to encourage those who, if you really do have that heart and if you really have, a desire to help in this accommodation industry, just start by starting. You know, I think a lot of times we just kind of sit around and we overthink it, overanalyze. And I know that because I teach this. And so analysis, just analyzing and analyzing and analyzing. We can analyze till the cows come home. I deal in spreadsheets most of the day, and I love it. But at some point, you have to pull the trigger and give it a try, whether it's partnering with a coach or going for it yourself and giving it a try, and then following up with someone who knows what they're doing to kind of redirect you and help you out. But go for it. Start by starting. It's a wonderful industry. I know we hear, scary things about it every day, but don't get discouraged. There are so many ways to host, even in our times right now. So start by starting. That's all I've got.
Absolutely love it. Look, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us and giving your time to our community and giving some great advice and some great tips. I incredibly appreciate it. Is there anything that we can do for you as a community?
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep sharing with the community, hope the community can keep an open mind and open heart as you provide, all of this value as your guests come on and they're providing value as well. So I think it's important that we as a hosting community, we're strong and we kind of stay together and we support one another and definitely keep in touch. Check me out. I have a Facebook group, Luxury Real Estate Investing for Financial Independence. And you can find me on Instagram as well at Short Term Gems.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Look, thank you so much once again. I super appreciate your time. You're a lovely person. I like it that we can have a bit of a laugh as well and take a little bit of the seriousness out of what we do, because it's very taxing. There's a lot of work that goes into it. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Netflix, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again in the future. And once again, if there's anything we can do for you, just reach out and we will be at your service. So thank you so much.
And thanks for having me, Bart. Appreciate everything that you're doing for the community.
Thank you. My absolute pleasure. Have a great day.
You too.